Welcome back to the Source Garage. So today I just wanted to kind of talk about this bucket that I've found and see if there's any interest in something like this that I could potentially buy in bulk and offer for sale. So I know that the Home Depot bucket or Lowe's bucket or wherever you're buying a bucket from, a bucket's a bucket, right? It holds the liquid, you put the soap in it, you use it, it works. But there's some personal preference and even from a business perspective, some aesthetic detail that can go into how you decide what bucket to use. And someone made a comment on when I posted this a while ago on the auto detailing Reddit, like going for the Apple look, like really pristine, really high end. And that's maybe what you could perceive this kind of bucket as, but I just wanted to talk about it and see if there was any interest because I do maybe have a potential to offer these for sale if there's enough interest in it. So the Home Depot bucket or Lowe's bucket or whatever you're normally using, it's just made of this plastic. It works well. It's durable. It's got a handle on it, but it doesn't look super pristine. If you're really going for a more of a better aesthetic look to what you're doing, and again, not entirely necessary, but just an option or a preference. So I found these buckets. These are food container buckets. They have these red markings on here for fill levels to help with your dilutions. And getting everything set just right. Obviously shorter than the Home Depot bucket, slightly wider though. And really the transparency that I was looking for was just because it looks better to me when I can see what I'm washing, see what's in the liquid as I'm like cleaning off my mitt for a rinseless wash, or if I was doing the 2-bucket method, just seeing how dirty my soap bucket was or my rinse bucket. And if you're using something that has like a cool color, like a green or a blue, like it just looks nicer. It's more appealing. And from a high-end detailing perspective, if a client was watching you detail, maybe it would look nicer if you were to use something that was transparent, that you could see the colors. It's just more appealing. Again, not necessary from a functional standpoint. This does the job of holding a liquid, right? But from an aesthetic standpoint, from a preference standpoint, and that's really all it is. And the difference between these two buckets, so I had this one and I didn't like the red lines on here. I wanted it to be completely transparent, so pure in a sense, to perfect that aesthetic as much as possible, but still keep the functionality of the lines and the labels. So this bucket, not sure if you can see it here, I'll try and zoom in. All the same markings are on here, they're just transparent. And I'm guessing are built into the mold of the bucket that this is made with. So all the same markings on here is on here, but it's transparent. So that thereby perfecting my aesthetic look that I was going for. And this is a little bit wider than this bucket. So just a quick demonstration of some of the grit guards being put in here. So here's the original grit guard. If you watch my grit guard analysis videos, you know these are junk now. Sorry, but they are. But just for fit perspective, so this sits in easily, right? In here, there's a little bit more room. This is a bit wider bucket, but I don't really care about this because you shouldn't be using one of these. This being the winner of my grit guard analysis, the Detail Guard's Dirt Lock. So this, when you try and put it down into here, we're getting stuck about midway. And again, that is with the rubber feet on here, or the sides that you could take off if you want to, but I like them for the snugness of the fitment. And on this bucket, goes right down to the bottom. There's not really much movement. If I really push here, I can get some wiggle out of it, but it's much snugger. And those rubber feet on the side like really help to hold it in place. So this is the ideal fit for me. And of course, it fits right into a bucket dolly, just like any other bucket. So this was my perfect setup when I'm doing a rinseless wash or just a 1-bucket method if I wanted to go around the car. This is my perfect setup. And I like the lower bucket versus the higher bucket because, one, I don't have to use as much water. I mean, you could use less water, but if you don't want to have to reach down so far into the bucket, again, I'm getting very, very nitpicky here as to my preference, but I would fill this up to about middle of the handle here, and then I can easily reach in. The water's at the top. It may slosh around a bit more. You're at more risk for spilling than something like this, and you don't have the handle. But I mean, I put it on a dolly all the time when I'm using it. So again, preference, preference, preference. I'm not declaring this as you have to have it. It's better than this in any way. Just preference. So that's really all I want to talk about. If anyone has any more input on this, I'd be interested to hear. It took me a while to find this. You can't, as far as I've looked, you cannot buy this anywhere in the US that I've been able to find. I spent days and days looking. This is a food container. You can find this at numerous sites. You can also find a taller version of this that's 18 liters, I believe. There's an 18 liter, it's skinnier, it's taller versus the 15 liter. But this is the right size for the Detail Guards Dirt Lock to go in here if you were going to use it. This is not as durable as this kind of plastic bucket, right? This thing you can throw around, beat to hell, just do whatever you want. It's not going to crack, break, haze, whatever. These are not going to be as tough as that. I'm not going to say it's unbreakable just to try and sell this to you, but it works just fine for everyday wear and tear as long as you're not like slamming it down, throwing it. I mean, yeah, it's plastic. It's susceptible to scratching and scuffing if you're going to rub it into stuff or drop it or dump it on something. It's the nature of what it is to go for that higher aesthetic look. But if you take care of it, I mean, I've had this for months now, using it regularly, and it's not showing hardly any signs of wear except around the edges on the bottom here where it sits, obviously. But the side of the bucket is not being damaged in any way. I've reached out to a number of other people who've used these kind of buckets for much longer than I have to ask, like, are the chemicals that come in your cleaners or rinseless washes or whatever you're using, are they having negative effects on this? And I've heard nothing but positive reviews of it's not damaging this. Now, I've also gotten comments about the UV causing these to haze up and lose clarity. It takes hundreds and hundreds of hours of you leaving this to sit in the sun for that to actually happen. I think I found a study, and if I can find it, I'll post a picture of it in the video. It's something like 300 or 400 hours out in the sun for it to start doing any kind of yellowing. So as for any average user or person who's detailing inside or just not leaving this in the sun all day, every day, the hazing from UV rays is absolutely a negligible side effect unless you're considering the lifespan of this for 40 years, which, well, another thing to talk about is the price. So if I was going to get these and sell them, it'd probably be for 20 bucks a piece. That's what it would cost to buy them in bulk and then ship a whole bunch of them over here. So if that's an interesting price, if this is an interesting bucket for 20 bucks, please comment, let me know, email me, something to let me know that somebody's interested in this, and I'll potentially get these and offer them for sale if I can, because I already have talked to the manufacturer about it. I'm trying to think if there's any other issues. I mean, again, durability, I'm not going to tell you it's as tough as this. UV, I'm not concerned with. Chemicals, I'm not concerned with any car washing chemicals. I think I've put in here almost everything you can, and again, with other people I've talked with, nobody's given any feedback that it's doing any kind of damage to the bucket. So if you treat it right, use it regularly, I would see no problems in using this every day. So just to address concerns of why this is still tougher, but this is still perfectly acceptable for use. So I think that's it. I don't have anything else to talk about. Yeah, please leave me some feedback. Let me know if this is something you'd be interested in. Again, 20 bucks is what it would probably be. So that's it. Thanks for watching.